Hello, everyone. You are listening or watching my comic book podcast. I'm your host, Kennedy, and today's topic for episode 6, we are going to be talking about The Incredible Hulk, issue 328. So, this issue was released back in November 11th, 1986, with a cover date of February 1987, and I guess you could say the comic book focused on Bruce Banner, and during the late 80s, Bruce Banner was not the Bruce Banner of the of what you see right now in the MCU. I think the one that you see on the MCU is a much cooler version of Bruce Banner, and definitely different from the TV series, the old school with Lou Ferrigno. But this version of Bruce Banner, I guess you could say that it's probably down to his lowest point of his life. He's not doing well psychologically, mentally, and ever since he's been separated from the Hulk, it's like two beings trying to fight for existence at the same time. You have the Grey Hulk, who despises Bruce Banner, and you have Bruce Banner, who's always despised being the Hulk. But everything in life right now is going to crap for him. His buddy Rick Jones has just started to change to the Hulk because he got exposed to gamma ray. Betty Ross was also a person who his marriage is just doing bad right now with her, and things are just not going right. She absolutely loves him. She wants to help him, but he just doesn't allow her to get close. And he's just going through a major low point in his life, and you don't know if he intends to do away with the life he's been given, or you don't even know if how he'll bounce back, because at this point in time, just for, I guess you could say, for many issues already that I've read from this Grey Hulk run, he's just not doing well. Bruce Banner is just really it's just, again, his worst point ever. I've read The Incredible Hulk many times through various incarnations of different writers, and I feel that Peter David, he did a magnificent job of writing The Incredible Hulk. And I also feel that, with the combination of penciler Dwayne Turner, they did a remarkable job together. And it's just really interesting when you read these backstories and to see how fragile his mind is, and just to see how different Bruce Banner is now compared to how he was back then. And in a way, when you think about it, when you read it in the present, you start thinking about his, how they covered mental health issues. Now it's a big thing. People would, read it and they're like, whoa, this guy is, this guy really is in desperate need of help. But how can you help someone when no one really understands what he's going through? So in this issue titled Peace of Mind, Bruce Banner is just having major problems. And while he's driving through the desert and wanting to get back to the Gamma base to let everyone know he's all right, despite not being all right, as he's driving in the sweltering sun, he sees this elderly man just sitting in the middle of the road, and he pretty much swerves to avoid hitting the elderly man, and flips his Jeep. When he goes to the elderly man tells them, well, Bruce Banner wants at least a thank you. He's not really getting anything from this guy. He's rarely talking. And the elderly man just tells them that, hey, that pretty much he doesn't want to live anymore. So now you have two people who are really in a funk. And the interesting thing is the old elderly man recognizes Bruce, and he tells Bruce that he has a terminal disease that can't be cured, and he believes it's his right to decide to die on his own terms. So Banner is shocked, and the elderly man tells him that he hired an assassin to kill him. Not Bruce Banner, but himself. And all of a sudden, this costumed person known as the Fragment just shows up out of nowhere and starts to push Bruce Banner. And he seems to know Bruce Banner, even trying to, really get into his head. And next thing you know, Bruce, who tries his best not to let the Grey Hulk come out, well, Grey Hulk eventually comes out, and he and Fragment start to go, go against each other, to fight each other. And I don't want to reveal too much of the ending or the storyline, but I will say that, if you're looking at this cover right here, you can see the people that are just really tormenting. It's just it's just, a lot of it is self-inflicted. Bruce Banner is just not a person who can cope with all the stress he's been going with and all the destruction that the Hulk has done, and he's just getting tired of it. So you can pretty much sympathize of what Bruce Banner is going with, because everyone has their own bad days. Everyone has their own moments of when they feel mentally down, and in this case, he is down. And so it's a really interesting storyline. You don't see it, just by looking at the cover and even just reading a few pages. You don't really think much about it, because Bruce Banner, for issues during this time, he's just been having a hard time dealing with his life. And I think, if anything, I came away just reading this issue just like, wow, Peter David really did a fascinating job of portraying Bruce Banner as a person with major mental health issues. And this is something interesting, because mental health it was not talked about back in the 80s. So just looking at this, just reading this storyline, I just found it very interesting, very intriguing, and it's just really interesting how mental health, because 80s, 90s, 2000s, again, really it's just within the last decade where it's been really in the forefront of media, of people focusing on their mental health. You got the Mental Health Day, and also a lot of politics involved with the homelessness and mental issues and violence that's happening in the streets. So it's just an interesting way of seeing things, how they were portrayed back then and how it's now. And you just wonder, what difference would Peter David have made if he was writing this issue in 2024. So that would be very interesting. So yes, the writer, it was Peter David, penciler was Dwayne Turner, inker Tony DeZuniga, colorist was Peter Scotese, letterer was Janice Chiang, and the editor at the time was Bob Harras and Bobbie Chase. So this was again a very solid issue. Again, it's not a major one where the Incredible Hulk is going against some major villain or antagonist. Fragment was very interesting because he can increase his mass and go to toe to toe with the Hulk and enraging Grey Hulk even more and more. I think the whole concept of Grey Hulk really worked well, and it's just really interesting of how long a run that Grey Hulk had in Marvel Comics back then, because Grey Hulk was pretty much gone for many years. So I found that very interesting. So, but yeah, that's issue 328. I will continue to do more Incredible Hulk and Amazing Spider-Man podcasts, and then once I finish a run of the Hulk, because I think I just have quite a few more of the Peter David storylines, and then I'll switch to either the Fantastic Four or the Mighty Thor, because I've been really wanting, or even Daredevil, because I've been wanting to read those titles that I've had. I think if Daredevil, I know, and Fantastic Four, I did reviews back in the earlier 1960 issues, and I kind of want to keep on continuing, because it's going to take me forever if I keep on changing books each time. And at least I want to do at least 20 issue runs of just discussing it. So reading 20 issues there, 20 issues this, and mix and match things. But I do want to do I do still have Amazing Spider-Man, just a few more left, and I may switch to Spectacular or Web of Spider-Man, or even do X-Men or some of the X issues. So not entirely sure yet, but I just go with the flow, and we'll see how things go. I probably will do also a few more Marvel Fanfare with the Black Widow run. But other than that, for DC, there's quite a good number of DCs I need to also talk about, and also other independents from Image Comics, the Ultraverse of Malibu, and also Valiant. So there's just a lot more that can be discussed. So that's about it for this issue. So everyone, I hope you are doing well. You take care, and I'll see you later. Wink, wink, and see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.